Welcome to the inaugural Gutfeld Town Hall. Tonight, we're joined by an audience from the Eastern State Correctional Facility. Greg, as well as youth groups from around the world. I'll be home soon. And of course, my old roommate, Steve, the creepy magician. Yeah. Take that, special report. Now, tonight's guest has many notable moments on the campaign trail, specifically how he's dealt with the media. Take a look.
Do you condemn white supremacy and white nationalism?
I mean, who are you with? It's the Washington Post. All right, so potato, okay.
Look at me.
Of course, I condemn any form of vicious racial discrimination in this country.
You didn't say that you condemn white supremacy, though.
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which actually fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not.
Yeah, well played. Well played. Please welcome back to the show GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. All right. Vivek, we got some questions for you from viewers all over the world. The first one's from Tony. What is the most important problem that you'd fix, and how will you do it?
Shut down the deep state. The people who we elect to run the government should once again be the ones who actually run the government. I don't think that's too much to ask, but it's not the way things work in the United States of America today. So as soon as I get in there, and I've been a CEO, I know if somebody works for you and you can't fire them, that means they don't work for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to fire 75% of the federal bureaucrats. I'm going to actually shut down government agencies that shouldn't exist. 8-year term limits for all of the bureaucrats. Zero-based budgeting. That's how you actually drain the swamp. That's how you gut the deep state. And if there's one war that I wage, it's not going to be some pointless foreign war. It's going to be the war on our own shadow government, and I'm going to win. So that's how I'm going to lead the country.
So, how do you, I mean, can you actually fire all those people? Is that a thing a president can do? I didn't look it up, but can you actually do that?
Yeah, you actually can, Greg. Now, they told Donald Trump for all kinds of reasons that he couldn't. They duped him, as I see it. They told him there are civil service protections that stop you from firing bureaucrats. You got to do this thing called reading the law, though. Those civil service protections only protect against individual employee firings. They do not apply to mass layoffs. And mass firings are absolutely what I am bringing to the D.C. bureaucracy.
Wow.
I do not believe in incremental reform. It doesn't work. I believe in actually shutting it down, and that's how we're going to get the country back.
So that means I could actually fire my whole staff, but if I just want to fire one person, like, I don't know, and then I'd have to fire them all. Okay. All right. Chicken Lizard. I don't know if that's a real name.
It actually makes sense. It actually makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay. This guy, Chicken Lizard, I can't believe I'm saying that, asks, if elected, what would your first executive order be once in office? And would it be on day one?
I do have a lot of executive orders lined up for day one, which are mostly rescinding past unconstitutional executive orders. I'll give you an example of one of them. It's Executive Order 11246 is what it's called. Lyndon Johnson adopted it. And it basically says if you're getting federal money or if you're doing business with the federal government, you have to adopt toxic racial and gender quota systems in your ranks. I would eliminate that. I think we should get jobs based on merit in this country. That's part of how we get this toxic new form of reverse racism in America. End it. The best way to stop discrimination on the basis of the race is stop discriminating on the basis of race. So it's not that complicated. I've pushed prior Republican presidents and administrations on why they didn't do it. They said it's a political hill we didn't want to die on. Well, I'm not afraid of dying on political hills. Actually, that's how we win, at the top of those political hills. is by standing for principle. And so that's an example of one of many past executive orders that we're going to rescind one by one. And I think it's going to take a president who knows what he's doing to actually navigate that.
That was exactly the one I thought he would pick, the one from Lyndon Johnson. It's in my notes.
He added it in his notes.
I added it in my notes.
Yeah.
Dane Peterson asks a pretty good question. To me, I feel this as he does. You've lauded Donald Trump's presidency, but you've also said you're the better choice because moving the country forward requires fresh legs. What do you mean by that, and how does it differ from what Trump is offering? It's a good question because it's like, what can you do that Trump can't?
Sure. So I'll give you an answer to that, but there's a deeper thing going on right now that we need to talk about. What I can do that Trump can't is two things. One is I have a deeper understanding of the Constitution, so I'm not going to be duped when I shut down agencies and fire a large number of bureaucrats, when I use our military on our southern border, not just build the wall, when I actually end birthright citizenship for the kids of illegals to whom it doesn't apply. The swamp gave Trump all kinds of reasons why he couldn't do these things. I understand the current Supreme Court agrees with me 6-3, and so I'm just going to do them anyway. And if they're going to sue me, that's fine. I'm okay going to the Supreme Court because we're going to win. So I think that's part of where I'm different than Trump, and I do think I can reach the next generation and reunite this country and, dare I say, inspire the next generation, partly because I am from the next generation. And so that's what I mean by fresh legs.
Gotcha.
But, Greg, I think there's something deeper going on right now. This is important, though. We're about to fall for a trick. I think this system wants to effectively narrow this field down to a two-horse race between Donald Trump and a puppet who they can control, then to eliminate Donald Trump from contention and trot in their puppet to the White House. I think that's the game, hiding in plain sight and staring us in the face. And I think we cannot fall into that trap. If you think this system is going to even let Donald Trump get anywhere near that White House, I want the people of this country to open their eyes, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And so, yes, I like the man because he got this fight started, but I view it as our job and my responsibility now to actually finish it, and I'm not going to fall into the trap that they've laid for us.
Do you think it's going to be what they're trying to do is create a DeSantis-Haley or Haley-DeSantis ticket? Is that what's being worked behind the scenes, you think?
I think it's not unlikely. I think the reality is Chris Christie dropping out was a little bit of a footnote, but they're narrowing the field. And I do think that Nikki Haley is a candidate that the mainstream media, combined with much of the Republican establishment and the donor class, has chosen to prop up. I initially thought it might be Gavin Newsom or Joe Biden, but actually this does a good favor for the permanent state to do it within the Republican Party itself, so they can claim nonpartisanship, but still somebody who's a reliable vessel for advancing their agenda. So they're rooting for a two-horse race between Nikki and Trump, eliminate Trump, trot in their puppet who they can control. And I'm in this to the very end to make sure that doesn't happen because our America First agenda cannot end with Donald Trump. It didn't start in 2016. It started in 1776. And I'm in this to take this another 250 years forward.
All right. We got to move on, Vivek. So we're going to see you tomorrow. We're going to back for part 2 of our town hall. Control yourselves, people. See you tomorrow. Up next, lefties hit a new level, calling Trump the devil.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.